Thank you, Deep Clough. And can I begin by thanking my colleague and committee chair, John Griffiths, for opening this debate, and all those who have been responsible for producing this report on local authority, library and leisure services. I am pleased to see that a large number of recommendations have been accepted or accepted in principle by the Minister. In my remarks today, I want to pick up on two that have been rejected. The first is recommendation 13, that the Welsh Government should provide targeted funding for those venues and organisations that face closure but have a sustainable future. I understand that the Welsh Government will not commit to providing additional funding. However, I would like to raise that there is an element of false economy here. If we let venues and organisations close, not only will it take even more funding later on to reopen them, we will also lose trained staff who have often have valuable and considerable experience. Replacing these will not only be very hard, but will more often than not come at a considerable expense, especially when you take into account retraining costs. Moreover, losing venues such as libraries and leisure centres has an immeasurable impact on the community, both in the short term and long term, on their health and well-being and their sense of identity. And we should be very aware that there is a wider economic fallout when venues close. People are less likely to travel to an area when there are fewer amenities on offer, and the fallout can be directly felt by local businesses who consequently see a drop in footfall. The war in Ukraine will eventually come to an end, and market forces will correct the higher energy costs, food prices and fuel prices we are currently experiencing. We have seen inflation fall considerably in recent months, and there is a very good reason to believe that we will soon see inflation return to target levels. It is therefore seems rather short-sighted to allow venues to close that have a long-term future, simply because short-term financing will not be provided by the Welsh Government. The obvious counter-argument is, where does the Welsh Government get this money from? But I would argue that the Welsh Government needs to think creatively about how it can possibly use its position to act as a guarantor for public venues to raise investment by themselves. The second recommendation I'm disappointed to see rejected is number 15. I think the Welsh Government should develop and work with leisure providers on a strategy to encourage primary schools to provide free swimming lessons. It is not enough to say that you agree with the intention but are mindful of the current financial position of schools. I'm sure it is clear to everyone here that if you cannot be bothered even to start thinking about how every primary school could provide swimming lessons, then free swimming lessons are never ever going to be available to all primary school children. Learning to swim is more than just being able to do a specific physical activity. It has been shown that swimming is a life skill that directly influences people's confidence and self-esteem. Provision for swimming is patchy at best, and whilst I can see that school finances are under pressure, it isn't right to say that you're not even going to start planning a future strategy. Swimming facilities that are owned and operated by the council should have a duty to make available time for schools at either reduced rates or free, and this doesn't necessarily have to be during the school day. To save on bus travel, schools could ask parents to take their children directly to leisure centres at the beginning of the day or have lessons after school, whereby parents could collect their children directly from the leisure centres. I honestly believe that there needs to be more creative thinking on how to solve some of these problems, rather than just saying that more money is needed. Deep Clough, I don't feel the need to expand on the accepted recommendations in this report, because I feel that they speak for themselves. I'm glad that the Welsh Government has accepted such a large number of them, and I look forward to them being actioned. But the Welsh Government can do much, much more. Thank you.